Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. I got a few things I want to talk at you about today. I've been doing a whole lot of research this week and a little bit of voiceover work and blah, 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 and I just decided I missed you. And you know what? I want you to know something. You're loved and you're appreciated. And I don't know if anyone's told you that today, but now somebody has. So what are you going to do about that? All right, we're on Real.Video, In Pursuit of Truth. Look, that's my channel. That's me. I mean, that's not me. I'm not In Pursuit of Truth. I'm Sir Patrick Mack, but that's my channel and that belongs to me. So in a way, that's me. I even changed my logo color to fit the decor because I'm so metro. And as you can see, I only have 2 videos up right now. And this one right here, The Socialist Princess, is just a stupid little video that I made. I was showing a friend how to use the iMovie template thing. And it was the first time I'd ever done it either, so I made this stupid little video. But I'm not going to post it on YouTube. You're going to have to go over to Real.Video if you want to see that. And of course, this is my last video that I did post on YouTube. I will be posting on here as much as I can in the near future. I really am very, very optimistic about this new platform, encouraging free speech, this Real.Video. So please come check me out at In Pursuit of Truth. And you can also type in IPOT and you should be able to find me over here. Great stuff. Now, let's take you over here. We're on Forbes magazine. This is an article by Danny DePlacido. The Strange Story of James Gunn. In a single day, James Gunn went from acclaimed writer/director of one of Marvel's most successful and beloved franchises to fired. And of course, Twitter is to blame. James Gunn is known for being an opinionated Twitter personality whose feed contains more politically charged statements than Guardian of the Galaxy tidbits. As an outspoken Trump hater, Gunn often butted heads with prominent conservative personalities, and after a confrontation with Mike Cernovich, the hashtag #FireGunn started to trend. Cernovich and others had uncovered Gunn's Achilles heel. Before the writer/director joined forces with Disney, he was a provocateur who swung between family-friendly fare like Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, and adult comedy like PG porn. But his taste for distaste was illuminated through his Twitter feed and website. Have a look through this compilation, and here it is right here. I'm going to leave you this link below. As you can see, some pretty creepy stuff. I'm not going to read all this. Watching Trapped in the Closet, R. Kelly's second best video after the one where he urinates on a child, blah, blah, blah. Here he is talking about NAMBLA. NAMBLA, of course, is the North American Man-Boy Love Association. Here's a couple tweets from Lloyd Kaufman. At James Gunn, thanks for not revealing that I mentored you at NAMBLA meeting. Okay, so these get really, really poor taste, and you guys can read this. I'm not a big fan of this, and you probably, if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I already posted this, as well as some other fairly famous people who have been tweeting some pretty creepy stuff. Now, keep in mind, this is from 2010, 2011. We're going to get into some of the legalities of this and a little bit of a conversation as far as morality, legality, constitutionality, all that kind of stuff. But let's talk more about this article. And as you can see, if you spot a theme, like that guy in high school who constantly cracks terrible jokes about the most offensive topics possible, Gunn was obsessed with black humor involving rape and pedophilia. But the trouble with jokes is that they're supposed to be funny. Many of Gunn's tweets are just gross. They're not witticism. They are the bottom of the barrel attempts to shock, the kind of childish filth you'd read scrolling through 4chan. The guy couldn't seem to help himself. He just kept vomiting out repulsive statements, all satirical, yet all fail to amuse. Although Gunn is guilty of nothing more than terrible taste, it's difficult to defend. The tweets were written several years ago, and you could assume that Gunn has matured in the time since, except for the awkward fact that he was 40 when he wrote them. The tweets sound exactly like the edgy humor of a 14-year-old. The man was way too old to be so amused by the concept of pedophilia. But the thing is, these tweets have always been publicly available, and I assume the House of Mouse has pretty stringent hiring practices, so you'd think that Disney knew about Gunn's bad taste before they hired him. But whether they knew or not, once a hashtag starts trending, it's game over. On the press tour for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Gunn would undoubtedly have been grilled about his terrible tweets, and it would be foolish to stay in such a lucrative family-friendly franchise with this particular controversy. James Gunn shot himself in the foot repeatedly, but the incident highlights the perils of social media, especially Twitter, where the most prominent users tend to fire their most controversial opinions out into the public with little thought or reflection. On Twitter, critical thinking is rarely rewarded. It's the shock jockeys, the knee-jerk reactions, and inflammatory statements that provoke reactions, retweets, and followers. Although the platform can be a goldmine for witty one-liners and news, both real and fake, it's also a buzzing hive of anger and outrage, and it's interesting to see both sides of the political spectrum weaponize words. A similar fate recently befell Roseanne Barr after she attacked Valerie Jarrett with a racial slur and was fired hours later. Although it should be noted that Barr attacked an individual, while Gunn's offensive tweets were self-inflicted wounds. What a strange time to be alive. Every person working in the entertainment industry probably spent all of last night furiously combing through their Twitter timeline, erasing everything that could be interpreted as offensive. Perhaps Gunn should have had the foresight to erase his Twitter and start anew after landing his role at Disney. Perhaps he shouldn't have been so keen to offend or quick to attack others, but it should be acknowledged that Gunn was pretty damn good at what he did, despite, or perhaps because of, his twisted sense of humor. The unlikely success of Guardians of the Galaxy, perhaps Marvel's least marketable franchise, can almost single-handedly be attributed to Gunn, who forged a quirky, colorful, new Star Wars in an era where Star Wars fans don't like Star Wars anymore. Marvel is often guilty of releasing formulaic, forgettable stories that succeed only because of their brand recognition. Thor, The Dark World, Iron Man 2, Avengers, Age of Ultron, etc. But their director-led films tend to shine, distinguishing themselves from a homogenous pack: Captain America the Winter Soldier, Thor Ragnarok, and of course Guardians of the Galaxy. Gunn unfortunately had to be fired. Disney would be risking too much to keep the man on the payroll. But without him, what does the future of Marvel space operas look like? He was the man who infused laugh-out-loud humor and quirky charisma into the MCU, and without him, the cinematic universe will be lacking personality. For me, there are only two words that keep the hope alive: Taika Waititi. And Taika Waititi is a director, I believe, from New Zealand that they're kind of hoping will take over the franchise. So there's lots to unpack about this whole thing here. And if you've been following me on Twitter, I have been calling a lot of these guys out as well, too. Now, I want to go into some more stories before we really talk about not only James Gunn, but what we're seeing here play out sort of in not just on Twitter, but in social media all around. Now, I've showed you here all these different tweets. This guy had tons of tweets. Okay. And then he got hired for Disney, a supposedly family-friendly outfit. Now let me show you some tweets from Michael Ian Black. As you can see, quite a few from him. I think you kids have a real shot. Tell him I said so. Let him poke you in. Will be a good story for your kids. They should have a Chuck E. Cheese's for adults that is pizza and cots. So you can see this is some really disturbing stuff. And I get it. These guys are trying to push the envelope with their humor. But there seems to be a line here. We're going to talk about that line in a little bit. But this Michael Ian Black is just another one of them. Let me show you here. This is Anthony Jeselnik, who also has a string of tweets. And I'll let you read some of them. They're very disturbing for me to read. And once again, I get it. These guys are comics. They're trying to be edgy. They're trying to be funny. And sometimes pushing the envelope is what's needed. And I'm not necessarily against that. But you can see there's some really, really creepy stuff going on here. Now, we're going to talk more about these two and kind of put it all together here. But let me take you over here. We're on The Hollywood Reporter. Dan Harmon apologizes for resurfaced video. Content was way too distasteful. The Rick and Morty co-creator deleted his Twitter account earlier on Monday as the controversy over an old comedy sketch grew. Dan Harmon, the creative mind behind Rick and Morty and Community, deleted his Twitter account Monday morning after a video he made years before resurfaced online. The video in question was a spoof of the Showtime series Dexter and featured Harmon's character traveling back in time to stop serial killers by sexually assaulting them when they were infants. In the sketch, Harmon is seen breaking into a house and simulating rape on an infant doll. So this is pretty creepy stuff. In 2009, I made a pilot which strove to parody the series Dexter and only succeeded in offending, Harmon said in a statement acquired by The Hollywood Reporter. I quickly realized the content was way too distasteful and took the video down immediately. Nobody should ever have to see what you saw, and for that I sincerely apologize. And I don't know if the video is still out there. I saw part of it. It was incredibly disturbing. And I didn't see any humor in this. And I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at with all this stuff is I'm not really seeing the humor. I understand sick humor. I understand twisted humor. I'd like to think that I have a fairly decent sense of humor myself. I guess I'm having a hard time finding this funny. Now let me take you even further to ABC News. R. Kelly pushes back on sex abuse claims in new song. R. Kelly released a new lengthy track titled I Admit, where he sings about sleeping with young ladies and shares that he was touched by a family member as a child. He also addresses several rumors about his life, including that he's illiterate on the 19-minute-long song which was released on Facebook Live. But the majority of I Admit addresses decade-long claims of sexual misconduct, including 21 counts of child pornography. R. Kelly, whose birth name is Robert Kelly, was acquitted on those pornography charges in 2008, ending a 6-year investigation. In April, R. Kelly faced renewed pressure when Time's Up unveiled a new campaign, #MuteRKelly, that targeted the R&B singer. Wow. The campaign released an open letter that drew attention to the numerous sexual misconduct allegations R. Kelly has faced and referenced the 2017 BuzzFeed report that claimed Kelly held several young women in a cult. In a statement to ABC News, R. Kelly's attorney, Linda Mensch, denied the cult allegations. When Robert Kelly is both alarmed and disturbed at the recent revelations attributed to him, she said in a statement in July 2017, Mr. Kelly unequivocally denies such allegations and will work diligently and forcibly to pursue his accusers and clear his name. Okay, so let me take you down here. Here's a little breakdown of some of the lyrics here. R. Kelly on creating a cult. What's the definition of a cult? What's the definition of a sex slave? Go to the dictionary, look it up. Let me know. I'll be here waiting. Some like to get branded, and what some of these girls want is too much for the radio station. Look, I'm just a man, y'all, not a monster or beast, but I admit there are times when these girls so fine, they'll chill, blah, 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 for a week. R. Kelly on rumors that he slept with underage women. I admit, if I F with all the ladies, that's both older and young ladies, but tell me how they call it pedophile, because that is crazy. You may have your opinions, entitled to your opinions, but really, am I supposed to go to jail or lose my career because of your opinion? Well, I don't know if it's really opinion. It's actually law, Mr. Kelly, but all right, let's keep moving on. R. Kelly on past sex tape with teenage girl. She said, what about the tape? I said, hush. I said, my lawyer said, don't say nothing, but I can tell you I've been set up. R. Kelly on rumors that he's illiterate. I admit I can't spell for I admit that all I hear is hits. I admit that I couldn't read the teleprompter when the Grammys asked me to present. R. Kelly on Time's Up movement. Cancel my shows, that ain't right. How they gonna say I don't respect these women when all I've done is represent? Take my career and turned it upside down because you mad I got some girlfriends. Ain't seen my kids in years. They trying to lock me up like Bill. Now here comes this big ass conspiracy. A rep for the singer didn't immediately return ABC News' request for comment. Okay, this R. Kelly guy strikes me as a total creep. I don't know much about his music. From what I've heard, I never really liked it. Not really my style, but that's neither here nor there. But this R. Kelly has been in some troubles. Now, he was acquitted, right, 2008 of these pornography charges. But keep in mind, there were 21 counts. And it says here that Mr. Kelly's both alarmed and disturbed. He's going to work diligently and forcibly to pursue his accusers and clear his name. You would think that just the clear his name would have been enough. But to pursue his accusers, and that came first. So that strikes me as rather creepy. And if you remember this story, this was before all the culty talk was kind of really happening. It was suspected, but we didn't have the NXIVM event coming out yet. And so a lot of this stuff makes a lot more sense. I don't know what Mr. R. Kelly here is guilty of, but it seems to me that if you were really trying to clear your name, you wouldn't be working so hard to pursue your accusers, number one. And you sure as hell wouldn't make a 19-minute long song talking about how you were touched by a family member. So maybe this guy was, and maybe he's gone through a really, really crazy time. Who knows? Maybe he's been brought up and all this stuff. And you know, we know all about the MK Ultra stuff and this and that. I don't want to go way into that. But maybe he's a product of that. Who knows? But either way, this doesn't sound right. You may have your opinions, entitled to your opinions, but really, am I supposed to go to jail or lose my career because of your opinion? No, that's not how it works, dumbass. It's the law. You're not supposed to diddle kids. All right. You see what's going on. Trying to blame us because we're mad. Because you mad, I've got some girlfriends. No, we're mad because some of those girlfriends are probably not old enough to be your girlfriend, R. Kelly. So you see what's going on here. We are seeing all these stars come out of the woodwork. And if you've been following me on Twitter, I've been posting a few of these sort of tweet collages of other people as well too. And here's where this is very interesting for me. And I had to ask myself this question earlier this morning. Patrick, what is your line? Where do you draw the line? Because I most certainly don't want to become part of this witch hunt. This has been going on for a long time, of course. Most recently, I guess it kind of kicked off with the firing of Roseanne and what she had to say about Valerie Jarrett. And let's go back to that story about James Gunn, because it mentions it. And, I think a lot of us disagreed with the firing of Roseanne. It was might have been tasteless, might have been a poor choice of tweeting, but nothing illegal. I'm not so sure you deserve to lose your job over this. Now, this James Gunn, I have to admit, I'm a little bit conflicted on this, because normally I would say, no, you don't fire this guy simply because of tweets, especially tweets that were years old. But then again, this guy had thousands, and he deleted like 10,000 tweets. He deleted them, meaning that he knew which ones were wrong. He knew which ones were tasteless. And more importantly, he is working for Disney. And this means this guy's going to be around children. Now, he's done movies like Scooby-Doo, but he's also done movies like PG porn. So it seems like a strange choice for Disney anyway. Now, he might be a very, very good director. I've seen the one Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not big on Hollywood. I don't really support Hollywood ever since I left. I don't watch TV, so I don't get into this stuff very much, and I don't like to give them my money. But whatever. And this Mike Cernovich here has been going after people on Twitter, and a lot of us have kind of joined in this. We've had a lot of this stuff on these people for a really, really long time. And so I guess we got to ask ourselves, where do we draw the line with dark humor, offensive humor, things that maybe we don't like, but we need to allow, and people shouldn't just be losing their jobs over everything. And I understand especially if you're a comic, you are going to, comics are supposed to push the envelope. They always have. And I don't really want people to be walking around on eggshells, afraid of what they're going to say about everything. At the same time, these people are talking about pedophilia, and that's a crime. And not only is it a crime, it is a crime in which we're seeing record numbers of arrests. And that is why a lot of us on Twitter are calling these people out, because in my opinion, that's also legal. I'm not necessarily calling for James Gunn to be fired. I'm just saying, here's what you said, and let's put it out and let people decide whether or not they still want to see your movies, because I think that you should be held accountable. After all, it said that this guy was doing this stuff in his 40s. Okay? If you're in your 40s and you don't know what you're tweeting about, don't give me the Ambien excuse. Don't give me the whatever you're taking. A couple of glasses of wine. I don't care. Get off Twitter if you are going to tweet something like that is so vile, especially when you've got millions of followers, you know that people are going to grab right onto this stuff. And so you can't give this guy a pass when it comes to that. So I guess therein lies the conundrum. And I want to know your opinions. Let me know down below. Where do you draw the line? Is it pedophilia? Is it physical violence? There's got to be some sort of... is there no moral code anymore that we sort of have? And how are we going to agree with this? And in particular, how are people on different sides of the political spectrum or whatnot, how are we going to come together to come and sort of agree on policy when it is in regards to this sort of thing? Now, let me shift gears on you real quick. We're on the Hill. Rouhani to Trump. War with Iran is mother of all wars. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani on Sunday warned the U.S. against taking aggressive action that could lead to war with Iran. America should know that peace with Iran is the mother of all peace, and war with Iran is the mother of all wars, Rouhani told a group of Iranian diplomats, according to Reuters. Rouhani also said pursuing hostile policies against Iran would only lead to regret. You are not in a position to incite the Iranian nation against Iran's security and interests, Rouhani added, Reuters reported. Tensions between the U.S. and Iran have been heightened for years, dating back well before the Trump administration. Okay, well, pardon me if I don't go way into Iran, but those of you who've been following my channel, clearly we know that this is Iran is sort of the deep state black site, and we're dealing harshly with Iran, and unfortunately the people are still the ones that are paying for this, but unfortunately this is probably the only way it's going to be able to go. Sanctions are going to drop on Iran. It's only going to get uglier. And, of course, this is a very polarizing topic in D.C., as it's likely to be, because the D.C. is riddled with the deep state. And we all know about that. But I'm still wanting to stay on this free speech kind of topic. But this is what Rouhani said to President Trump. And of course, you know how President Trump responded, all caps, to Iranian President Rouhani: never, ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious. Well, those are big words for a president. And look, I think most of us are here that are listening to this channel. Maybe not all, but most of us are probably in, of course, our president's corner. But I do find this really, really incredible. Simply the historical fact. We've never had anything like this before. Okay, well, whether you love Trump or hate Trump, you've got to admit this is something else. This is really something to behold, in which a president just goes all caps lock on you. Now, there's nothing vulgar about this, and I'm not so sure that I could call this insightful. But all I want to do is point out, try and step back for just a second and picture yourself as, and I'm not talking about a far left knucklehead. I'm talking about some centrist, maybe middle of the road, slightly leaning left Democrat, average thinking person, or a foreigner. A lot of you who are not American, you know, and you're reading this tweet and you're thinking, ay, ay, ay. Now, we know that the president is fully capable and ready to follow through. So I wouldn't really say that this is a threat, nor is it a veiled threat. It's just strong words. But again, this is the president of the United States, one of the most powerful people in the world, speaking directly to somebody on Twitter. And it's unprecedented, no matter how you feel about it. Now, I kind of like it. But in sticking with the topic, now we get David Hogg. And he tweets to U.S. President Trump: never, ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious. And of course, David Hogg got raked through the coals here, and I'll leave this for you here to read. And please keep in mind, I'm trying to keep my opinions out of it and really just play devil's advocate with this thing. But what the point I'm trying to make is that we are in an incredible time in which we use this social media as such a powerful tool, and it's so powerful that the president of the United States, one of the most powerful people on the planet, just went full caps lock on Iranian President Rouhani. And I think most of us that are listening to this channel stand by him, but I'm just for playing devil's advocate, picture the ones who are not and what this is doing. We're creating a great, great divide. And it goes back to my original question about what do we allow? What do we allow on social media? What are we going to do? This is a new age for us. And although we've had social media for a while, it's definitely bringing us into new areas. It's uncharted waters, right? So what do you feel about all this stuff? Where is your line? What do you say? Now, let me give you one more story. And this is off of CNN. Trevor Noah under fire as offensive joke about Aboriginal women resurfaces. And let me just play you the joke. Yeah, let's take it. There we go.
And I know some of you are sitting there now going, oh, Trevor, yeah, but I've never seen a beautiful Aborigine. Yeah, but you know what you say? You say yet. That's what you say. Yet. Because you haven't seen all of them, right? And plus, it's not always about looks. Yeah. Maybe Aborigine women do special things. Yes. Maybe they'll just like jump on top of you and just be like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Okay, so you get the idea. And this, again, years back, and here's a tweet right there. Well, this is horrible. I'm surrounded by countless beautiful Aboriginal women. All right, look, I don't necessarily care for this Trevor Noah. He most certainly doesn't care for the president of the United States. But again, if we take that step back, here this guy's going under fire for jokes he made years ago about Aboriginal women. Were they tasteless jokes? They were. Do you feel he should be fired from CNN? You tell me. You tell me. Okay, so here we have all these different situations that have one common theme in which somebody of a high-profile nature is expressing themselves, whether it be through a social media platform or some sort of mass media platform. We have this James Gunn, who is a big, big star, big movie maker, obviously raking in squillions over this Guardians of the Galaxy and his other movies. Clearly an artistic talent. But these tweets are very, very disturbing. And I would ask you this. What if it were a 15-year-old boy with the same number of tweets talking about shooting up a school? Would we raise an eyebrow then? And what would we do about it then? Where do we draw the line? Is it okay to yell fire in a crowded theater? Then we have this guy working for Disney. Like I said, this Disney's for children. This guy here, Michael Ian Black, same thing. Disturbing tweets and a big pattern of it. But what's even more disturbing, he's the co-author of Naked, a children's book about a young boy adverse to wearing clothes. Okay, yeah, ding, 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 ding. I think we got ourselves a winner right here, right? Then you've got this guy who literally made a movie where he was stuffing this little plastic doll. Yeah, ding, 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 ding. I think we have some creepy behavior again. And again, like I said, would you let these people tweet about violent behavior, shooting up a school or something like that relative to it? Which one? Where does free speech cross the line of warning signs? R. Kelly, 21 counts of child porn, just made a 19-minute song, not really saying that he was innocent, not exactly working diligently and forcefully to pursue their accusers and clear his name. And then we've got our president, which I can't really put in the same thing because there's nothing inappropriate here. This is just strong language. But again, I'm just tying it here to the ability to speak freely. Strong language from our president, which a lot of people, of course, are going to, they're going to criticize. I don't think it falls into the same line by any means. But it does lend to the question, what should we or shouldn't we say on social media? As far as President Trump goes, I fully support it. I would leave it right there. I wouldn't go much further than that. I think you made your point. I think you're going to be able to back your point. And I think that the rest of the world's going to come around to that point. I'm just saying, as president, I would leave it right about there. You tell me what you think. As far as David Hogg goes, I'm not so sure if I'm going to go out of my way to say that he's threatening the life of the president. But I would definitely throw up some warning signs. Never, ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences. According to who? According to David Hogg, I don't think you're going to be imposing any consequences on anybody, David Hogg. This is just a loud talker. But again, dangerous? Yes or no? You tell me. This kid seems dangerous in a different way, in the fact that he's got a lot of influence. And so he's got a lot of people that he can rile up behind him. And that could be dangerous. Is David Hogg himself dangerous? No, look at him. Kid will dry up and blow away in a heavy wind. And then we've got Trevor Noah, who just made a bad joke. And he's probably going to get... there'll be some people, yeah, there you go. Social media are now calling for a boycott. Yeah, some people will boycott his tour, and he'll deal with it, and he'll go right back to being the same knucklehead that he always is. And I'm okay with that. I don't like his policies. I don't particularly like him. I don't watch his show. But, again, where do you blur the line? So, there you go. And I want to take you to a couple more cool things before I leave you. I want to thank the YouTube user Cordicon for turning me on to this. He's got a channel that does a lot of Q stuff as well, too. That's Cordicon. And he turned me on to this. I checked this out the other day. Now, I've been playing with these trip codes for a while, but I never really got that close. I'm going to take you to the very first post. And we're just going to copy this code right here. And we're going to go over to Google. And we're going to enter it. And under the subheader here, we're going to go to books. And as you can see, the first response here is October 2017 Q questions. And then we have a selection of books. Alice's Bloody Adventures in Wonderland, The Politics of Gun Control, Restoring the Republic, A Clear, Concise, and Colorful Blueprint for da-da-da-da. Where We Go One, We Go All, Mirror, Awakening, Fly, Eagle, Fly, An African Tale, Sacrificial Sex, Out of What Chaos. All right. I think you see what's going on here. Now, let me take you all the way to the most recent, where the trip code is different. And we're going to do the same thing. Q on Twitter. Lemuria, Book 1, The Synagogue of Satan. Obama, The Postmodern Coup, Making of a Manchurian Candidate. The Spinning Magnet, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, Electromagnetic Fields, Our Country, Our World, Anarchist Knight Apprentice, Blood, Money, and Power, How LBJ Killed JFK, Engaging the Powers 25th Anniversary Edition. Okay, so maybe some of you have already seen this or not, but it seems to work with all the trip codes, taking you to a lot of source material. All you have to do is take these trip codes and enter them in Google and go over to this header number books. Now, I know I did it with the images, and I'm sure I did it with all. I don't think I ever checked the videos and the books out and whatever, but thanks to Corticon for spotting that. I'm not exactly sure if that was your original find, but either way, I'll say thank you for that, for turning me on to that. So looks like I've got some reading material to catch up on. All right, that is all I got for you today. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. I'll be coming at you with some more stuff very, very soon as I can get myself out of the digging weeds. All right, I'll be getting at you very soon. Until next time, this is Sir Patrick Mack. Stay funky.